Oh, it says record to the cloud. So I'm recording this so we can find out if I can put this up onto YouTube when we're all done.
Caroline Mustard, who does Zoom for her digital iPad class for Procreate, she gives us the video, access to the video on Zoom, and then sometimes she then deletes it after a week or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with YouTube, the actual recording, does YouTube record or not? I mean,
yes, it records. So
okay.
What I use is an OBS. So I've got YouTube and OBS. OBS is a software, and what I do is in OBS I set up both cameras, and I set up where the audio is coming from, and so I can adjust that. And then what was I gonna say? Oh, and that I record it, and it automatically, YouTube will automatically do that, so I don't have to upload it. So I haven't, I just tried recording on Zoom, and I saw the files, but I saw how large they were, so that's when I stopped doing the Zoom.
So with Zoom, it's actually on your hard drive, the file?
Yeah. Now, I just noticed that when I went to record this, it said Zoom onto cloud, but is that my cloud? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's some things to play
Well,
with.
you're the one that has the Zoom meeting account, so it's got to be on yours.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it my cloud, or is it in Zoom's cloud?
Oh, I see.
That's what I meant.
See how confusing all of this is, and
Yes, it is.
this kind of a situation is going to be harder on our older members.
Right.
Well,
Right.
but the members only have to watch. It's not like they need to set anything up.
Right.
Yes, but I guess my point is that they would have to have an app and download it to the computer. Is that how it works? And then they have to wait there until the Zoom meeting starts?
I don't think so,
correct?
because I don't think so, because I have a laptop, and once somebody sends you an invitation, that's all you need.
Oh,
Yeah, you
okay.
click on that
They just
link
click on the link.
Yes.
Okay, just like I'm doing with Guy right now. I sit here and I wait.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So
Okay.
what's wonderful about Zoom is that we're able to converse.
Right.
What's interesting about YouTube is we can converse, except I'm using OBS, and so I'm not able to see YouTube in all the chats that are in there. So I have somebody that is just watching the chat and then texting me, letting me know somebody needs to know what this color is, or could you go over that again. So there's no real communication.
No direct communication.
Yeah, so it's indirect. So I have somebody that is monitoring that and giving me feedback.
Okay, one other question I have then with the Zoom is that what do you do if you have 50 people watching? So 50 people are all can talk at the same time?
No. What they do, you have the ability to mute them.
Yeah.
So you would mute 50 people?
Yeah.
So how would they ask a question if they had a question?
It gets too convoluted, too confusing.
So then if somebody had
they can ask later. They can send emails. They can do a lot of things. It's kind of like when you're watching a YouTube video. They can send you a chat.
Yeah.
Well, then what's the advantage of having the Zoom? If you can't talk to the person on Zoom because you've muted everybody,
well, you can unmute people.
As YouTube, where they've got someone answering the questions as you go along.
Well, with Zoom, you also can do that. So there's a chat there. So you can type in your chat and ask a question that way, just like in YouTube. Or they also have something where you could just raise your hand. And if the moderator or whoever is, you know, the leader, whatever you want to call it, can unmute you. And then you
Okay.
can ask a question. So.
Okay, okay, all right.
Okay. I think if, you know, we may want to do like a test once we're set up, and then we'll see how it all works, and it's easier. We're all visual people, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I've seen a lot of Zoom replays from artists and everything. And one thing I'm going to say is that I did not like the quality. So it kind of, as I was watching a link from another artist, they'll be moving and then all of a sudden things will pixelate. So, and that
Yeah.
doesn't,
I've seen that.
doesn't happen with YouTube. And also, depending on the artist and how they're set up, their sound is horrible. And if your sound is horrible, it's really annoying for people.
Yeah.
So and with OBS, I'm able to direct where my mic is going, just doing it from my laptop. So it's
Okay, 'cause
more regular.
even in this meeting, people are breaking up on the
That-
audio.
That's due to your internet provider.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Yeah.
yeah.
So overall, it seems like YouTube is a little more clear and seamless than Zoom.
Well, they both have pros and cons.
Yes, yes.
As I do my workshops, just to let you know, I start the day off with a Zoom. So what and let me just step back. When I do a workshop, I'm giving out photo references, a list of materials, line drawings, and all of that. And so what I do is I set up a Dropbox account for everybody, and I send them a link to Dropbox so that they're able to print out the photo reference, they're able to print out the line drawing, and print out the list of materials. I also have another folder in there for sharing. And what they do is, as we are painting and everything, they can send me their image and I'll post it into Dropbox. So is that kind of clear? Okay, so then on a day of a workshop, we'll start the meeting with Zoom. And what we'll do is this gives me a chance to meet people, number one, and and then I can do a critique going through Dropbox, which is wonderful. Actually, let me just, can I show you?
Yes.
Sure. Why
Okay,
not?
so what I do is I'll just go to, where is, I usually have this prepared. So, well, anyway, I'm not, can I move this? Yes, okay, there we go. So for instance, here's somebody, oh, this is mine. So I'm able to blow up or go to the next, and we're able to connect this way. So I'm able to critique their work. And let's stop the share, go back, and which is wonderful. So I've got the Dropbox set up, and then I'm able to converse. So if you have questions for me, I can write those down, and then when I go to YouTube Live, I can explain them and show them. Because I hate talking. I like to show people what I mean.
Yeah, sure, sure.
So I do use both. So I start off a meeting with Zoom because I get to have the one-on-one interaction, or the 1-on-100, whatever you want to call it. And there's other tools in there that you're able to use. So I just think it's wonderful.
Do the students need to switch then from Zoom to YouTube Live, or how does that work?
Because YouTube is separate from Zoom. So I send them a link for Zoom, and then I say, okay, go to YouTube, or, you know, I'll send you the link in a moment.
Yeah.
usually already have that set up so that they just switch right on over.
Okay.
Okay, so it sounds like we need both. We need to have access to both
Well, yeah, yes, because some people, like you're saying, some artists are already used to using Zoom, so they'll probably want to do Zoom, and especially if you're doing it in the gallery.
right.
You know, it'd be nice to have everything set up for them, unless they're working from home.
So we have 3 avenues. We have live, people to people, we have Zoom, and we have YouTube.
Yes. And another item we're gonna have to deal with is if we're gonna do demos from the gallery via these medias, we're gonna need to have the internet down there. We don't have that right now.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's right.
yeah.
Good point.
So I don't think it's, that expensive. And if we're getting the benefit of it, it's probably worth it, but it would be an item we have to take care of.
I think we have to have it, and I think we should have it, because I know sometimes you go down there and work on the computer and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? When we first moved there, I looked at the cost for the internet, and at that time, which was 5 years ago, it was about $70 a month. Because we have AT&T, I think. So,
Yeah.
just so you know, that was the ballpark figure, and we opted not to do it at the time because it was costly.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah,
we're
but
gonna have to
now
do
we have
it
a reason.
because if we're going to be doing workshops and demos, we have to have it.
Yeah.
And if
That's
we
true.
don't, and
Oh,
otherwise,
no, I understand. I was just letting you know about what the cost was going to be.
I appreciate that. I have
$70
internet,
a month.
and mine cost a lot more than that.
Yeah.
right now.
I know.
Mine's about double
I
that.
may switch
Yeah.
to AT&T.
So anyway, yeah, I think it's the only way we really make money besides our membership is through the workshops, right?
Right.
That's kind of the next thing that we make money on.
And then we sell things, obviously.
Well, not so much that, but
Donations.
we do get some through the shows.
Mhm.
So,
And some donations.
and donations, yeah.
Well, here's
So
a logistical question. So if we want to run workshops off of Zoom and or YouTube, then people would have to pay in advance. And then we would just specifically send them a link to join the workshop.
Yes.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
And then when the workshop's over, the link goes away.
Yeah. We'll have to figure out how we do the demos, because the demos are open to the public, and that's part of our
Draw.
nonprofit thing. We need
Yeah,
to
and that's easy.
provide that.
So you just, as you set up your YouTube live, you just say unlisted, and you still have a link. So you want to point people to your website or whatever, and that's where your link is going to be.
Okay.
For them, or you email it out, or however.
Yeah, it's easier to direct them to the website.
Yeah.
And then you take it down afterwards.
Yeah.
So the website will have the link.
Right.
Yeah, however you're doing your marketing, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, all of that, you could utilize all of that.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do more marketing as well. I mean, and this will be helpful to have.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Yes.
So regardless of whether we use Zoom or YouTube or a combination thereof, the equipment is going to be the same, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
When I first started trying out Zoom, it said you can have another camera. Well, I connected my camera to my laptop, but I would say go to the second camera, but it never recognized it. And that's why I needed this, which is a capture video device, which I use a mini HDMI cord to the camera, and then that HDMI plugs in here, and this plugs right into your USB, and voila, now this camera is recognized by my laptop.
Okay.
The workaround for me was getting a tripod and getting a phone mount and using my phone. But that was really, really awkward. And I had to, if you didn't mute your sound, it was all garbled. It's just horrible, horrible.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, we don't want that.
yeah, and you're working in between the tripods. So,
Yeah, yeah.
oh my God, the things that have happened.
Yeah.
Then there's also web cams that you can clip on in case your laptop did not have a camera. That you could plug in, but those again are the quality is horrible. So like if you move like this, lights will flash, and recording it'll look funny.
Yeah.
And but you know, that's another route to go. But if you're going to do that, it's cheaper, but you would want to have one that has sound also.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And I attached that to my arm with a food, you know, when you bag up your stuff, the little clip, because it didn't have a camera mount.
Okay.
And I love my camera mount, so you can move your camera in any direction.
Right.
So, and quick release. But yes, go ahead.
I was going to say, it almost sounds like we need a couple dry runs to figure all of this out.
Yeah.
You know, like if you were to do a 10-minute demo so we can try everything out and see how it looks, kind of a thing,
Yeah.
how everybody can access everything, and if we have the equipment that works properly.
Well, this
Yeah.
is
And
kind
how-
of a dry run here.
Yes.
Yeah, but not for YouTube
Yeah,
and not at the gallery.
Right.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. We've got a little time. Another thing that you had assigned me was getting us some help, and it's a little difficult right now to get anybody from the colleges.
Yeah.
So what I did do though, I don't know if you're all aware of it, but because of the San Bruno fire, PG&E has been doing community service work as part of the settlement. And we had contacted them before and we never quite got anything set up. And so I emailed the person that I'd contacted before, this is like a year ago, and said, you know, we have a need for some support on this to get this set up, just to gather some additional expertise is my hope. So she answered me back and said, you know, they're only doing virtual stuff, but they can look into whether they can provide the support. So I sent her another email about what would be helpful. So I'll wait and see if we can get some additional support that way. Because if we could get somebody who could like make sure we've got it all set up right and give us additional advice. I mean, Guy's a wonderful expert, but you know, we should have somebody who could maybe do more of it for us. Maybe they could actually set it up for us. So anyway, so I'll let you all know when I hear more back from the person.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
So, and then later on, if we look like we need help and the colleges are back in functioning, maybe we can do that.
Well, some of the other art associations are also getting some sponsorship from the local communities. Like I think Redwood City has the Parks and Recreation people supporting them for the Sequoia Art Group. So there's other, you know, I know that there's a couple of others that are also getting support from their city or county. And so there's other, you know, maybe there's something else we could partner up with. The other thing I heard was that some of the art associations local art associations are merging.
Mm. Mhm.
And the one
Yeah.
thing about a merger, which might be good, is, you know, we've got the history, the long history of being an art association. Some of these places are newer and they're struggling too. Maybe we could eat one or two of these organizations and benefit from the people in the membership.
Yeah, it's worth checking out.
Yeah, because it's harder for them now, and if they have membership and people that are willing to work and hold positions on committees and so on, that would be a benefit to us, and it would be an instant bloom of new people to communicate with.
What,
Yeah.
do you have the names of any of those art associations?
Names of the other organizations?
that are thinking about merging.
Well, I went down the line and I got a list of a whole bunch of organizations that are, let's see where my list is here. In the county of San Mateo, there's all kinds of, there's San Mateo County Arts Commission, which has a list of others, Peninsula Arts Council, City Arts of San Mateo, Peninsula Museum of Art. You know, there's that one in Burlington, San Mateo. There's one in Laurelwood Shopping Center with 5 locations, Burlingame Art Society, Conservation of Art LLC, Academy of Arts, you know, Art Academia, I think it is. Anyway, there's a ton of them, and it's just a matter of talking to them, asking how they're doing, what they're doing, and you know, have they considered merging with another group, particularly an older group that has a long history of being, you know, active in the area.
And it wouldn't have to be a merger. It could be just a collaboration on something, so that you don't have the, you know, the legalities involved in a merger. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why I was bringing up the fact that the Sequoia Art Group promotes SWA demos.
Yeah, yeah, do things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's something that mergers and acquisitions are something that I'm familiar with in the baking world. But I think this is a time when restaurants are failing, businesses are failing, and art associations are as they're not essential businesses. Art associations are what we do for fun and for recreation. So I think that that's an avenue to explore.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you could send all of this the list and we can figure out a strategy.
I will try to verify this stuff and get more information, because I know there are some things. So yes, I will, and I'll
Okay.
send that to you.
Because you know, a couple of the ones you mentioned, we already have connections to, and we may
Yes.
not have as formal a
Yeah.
arrangement, but yeah.
Yeah, I like the Pacific Art League and stuff like that. Now they have been around a long time, but and they have they're doing better now than they were when I first started taking classes there. They're doing way better. They had some discord amongst the board, and I think all of that's been resolved, and consequently they're moving forward nicely. So and I still am in contact with some of the people, but not as many as I used to. And I know some of the teachers there, including Caroline Mustard.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's something to consider, partnering or even merging or absorbing another organization. So that's something that needs to be thought about, particularly since we're all having the same problem with regard to workshops and demos. And I've seen, for example, Santa Clara Valley Watercolor Society has one online workshop, but all of the other ones have been canceled.
Because they
And,
weren't able to do an online workshop.
Okay, yeah, they had one, well, I've got their list here, and there's several of them that are canceled, and they had, again, David Smith, he's a watercolorist, and he did a demo and a workshop for them, but he did it, I'm sure, from his own residence.
Yes, because he was set up to be able to do that. A lot of artists are not able to do that.
That's true.
And a lot of artists were asked, and they were sent a list, like a list that I gave you, which I helped with Susan, who's the director of workshops, to send out to the other artists. And some artists did not want to do they wanted only to be able to do it in person. And so that's why, and there's a whole setup. It was like I was telling you, it took me quite a while to be able to get this. So they were all on back order, so.
Okay, well, my question is, and my thought is that a lot of the artists who would normally come to us and do a demo and a workshop probably don't have the wherewithal to buy the equipment they would need to set themselves up or have a space where they could do it. So if we had our space in our gallery set up that they could come and use with our help, I think they'd be more willing to do it.
I agree.
Yeah. I think that's something.
The other thing about the Santa Clara Valley Watercolor Society, so they are renting space in a school in San Jose, and that's been shut down. So they're not even able to go there.
Oh, that explains that.
Yeah, so they have the equipment, they have the camera, the light, all of that, but they weren't able to utilize the space at all. So that's why it was on the artist. So this is a big plus if we have the equipment and you're using local artists, or even if you're flying somebody out to do a workshop, they don't have to incur any of those costs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely something we want to do, and it's just a matter of getting a list of the pieces of equipment we need to buy and buying them.
Well,
Yes.
you kind of got the list.
Yeah, but you said there are some choices. And we need to make those choices and settle on something. Yes.
Yeah, Jim, maybe if you could add it up and put it on the agenda for our Saturday board meeting,
That would be good.
because we should talk about it and decide.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, thank you, Guy, for putting that together.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's really
Yes.
helpful.
Yeah, very helpful. Okay, so then I have been talking to a number of people about teaching for us and doing demos for us. And I also sent an email to William Schneider, who's in Illinois or Iowa or someplace, but he hasn't gotten back to me yet because I'm on his list.
In the middle. He's somewhere in the middle.
He's out there. Anyway, but I had a long talk with Ray Mendieta, who is an oil painter. He actually taught at Academy of Art, as a Master's of Fine Art degree from Academy of Art as well. And he was teaching for the Pacific Art League, and they didn't pay him sufficiently, so he ended up doing most of his classes at University Art, which now has closed off they're not going to be holding any more classes at all the rest of the year in person, and they're struggling. That's a privately owned company, and they had to shut one of their stores down. But anyway, I talked to Ray, and Ray has got a house he lives in San Jose, and he has his own little room set up to do Zoom teaching there. But what he has that most artists don't have is he has a buddy, a fellow painter, somebody who's painted with Ray for years. His name is David Bronstein, who created a software program that allows the people who take his class to upload their work in progress and their reference photo, and he can see both of those on the software program, and discuss them one by one, which is very interesting for the rest of us, because then we can see the progress they're making, and we can hear his commentary, and he then sometimes does color mixing, and we get to watch how he's mixing the colors and so on. So it's been so successful that he's doing now several of them, plus he's doing a plein air class in the Palo Alto area, so people can safe distance and paint outside together. And but he would be interested in using his equipment to do a 1.5 hour demo maybe, and then also maybe a 2-day or a 2.5-day workshop using his own equipment, because he doesn't give classes on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, so he could easily do a demo and a 2-day workshop.
Yeah.
I thought Ray was a member.
Pardon me?
I thought Ray was a member of SWA.
Ray Mendieta?
Yeah.
I don't know if he is or not. Yeah.
He was at one point.
Okay. And
So was Ellen Howard.
Yeah, I know that the name sounded familiar, but
Yeah.
I have tried to get him to do a demo for us in the past couple of years, but haven't been successful.
He said he would do it.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Okay, and then I also talked to Steve Curl. And Steve Curl said that, and I said, people say that they've taken your classes, and so you would not be as appealing unless we found something specific that you would teach, like, for example, skies, clouds, or foliage, or a workshop on how to do a certain half dome or whatever. So he said, well, ask you, Jim, and Sharon and everybody, what you think would be most appealing from a watercolor perspective, and he will do it. He said he'd love to be able to do it.
He gave a workshop years ago at SWA, and I didn't attend since I'm not a watercolorist. Do you remember, Sharon, were you there then? This was down in Redwood City.
no. I'll have to ask Carrie.
Yeah,
Carrie would probably
he's done many workshops and classes.
And he's a very nice man.
I know John Barrows was talking to him also last year about doing a workshop for us.
Yeah, I actually introduced them at University Art.
Okay.
And John gave him his card, and Steve, I think, gave him his card, but it didn't get followed up on quickly enough, I think, and things have changed. But I know him personally. I've taken his classes, and I talked to him last Friday, and he said,
okay,
we had a nice long talk about Zoom. He's got a Zoom set up at home. If you want him to do it at home, he can do that. He's very, very eager to do it. And he does do some traveling, but if we can help, he said fall, September might be a good time, something like that. So anyway, we can pursue it, but I need some specificity. I need some idea how much we are going to pay for these people for these things. Ray said he'd probably be very reasonable. He thought he could do a demo for $200, so that's pretty good. And then he'd do a workshop, and obviously we price the workshop so that he got paid, and then hopefully we made a little money too. That would be nice.
So we've always done it on a break-even basis. All the workshops have to break even, otherwise they're canceled. And you know what? You can look in the file cabinet done an SWA, and all of the workshops that we've had since I started doing them, which might have been 2005. Oh, there's a folder for every workshop that's in there, so you can see what people had charged back then and what the information is on what they were going to do for their workshop. So you can get a lot of
That
background
leads to a
information.
very good point that I'd like to make. Thank you very much for that. The point I would like to make is that the Santa Clara Valley Watercolor Society has, they have what they call a workshop leader. The workshop leader is responsible for contacting and implementing contracts with up to 10 workshop instructors per year and maintaining a list of upcoming workshops for approximately 3 years ahead. The leader coordinates with instructors for travel and hotel reservations to and from the airport. The leader also determines the price for each workshop and collects images and information from the instructors for the workshop brochure, editor, and website. The leader contacts the workshop facility coordinator to reserve the facility. The leader meets with the workshop committee at least once a year to mail out workshop brochures and handle other committee business. The leader writes a monthly article on the workshops for the newsletter. The leader works closely with workshops registered to monitor enrollment and cancellations. The position requires good computer skills, Word, etc., blah, blah, blah. Good communication and people skills are also important. The workshops leader attends all board meetings as a board member. Leader writes a monthly report to the board. The time commitment is heaviest when there is a workshop. Otherwise, it averages about 5 hours a month. The annual total is about 35 to 40. I don't know what that means. And then there's a workshop registrar who is responsible for creating the current workshops page and workshops calendar on the website. This involves collecting images and files from the instructors and posting them to the website. The registrar also handles issues with signups for workshops. She collects payments. She or he collects payments made by check that we receive by mail and coordinates with the treasurer for deposits and refunds. The registrar works closely with the workshop leader and the webmaster. And the position requires good computer skills. Anyway, these are job outlines. Do we have people like that? Do we have those positions? And do we have people that are holding those positions?
Okay, so years ago, when we were down in Redwood City, we came up with job descriptions, and I was the workshop chair at the time, and I did workshops for many years. So all of those, basically your outline of what you just read should be in the job duties. Sharon, remember when Moira was with us?
That was actually before me.
Oh, okay. Well, somewhere, and Carrie would know because we had all the job duties listed.
Yes.
And almost everything that you mentioned is what I used to do. So I would have documented everything to for all the jobs that needed to be done to run workshops. So maybe Carrie would know.
So what I'm hearing is we have nobody that's doing this now.
Correct. Once I left the job, I think somebody else took it over, and then they left, and it has fallen into, no, John Barrows was the last one to do it, wasn't he?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's doing any of these things.
No, probably not. It's a lot of work.
So are we talking volunteer positions here or paid positions?
Well,
I don't believe the Santa Clara Valley Watercolor Society
there's no way we have money for paid, so.
Yeah,
I'll do it if you pay me.
the Santa Clara Valley Watercolor Society, that is voluntary. I know they give a stipend. So you were talking about the director or the leader. She's volunteer. And the person that was doing, making sure that everything is posted, talking to the artists and all of that, getting the money, refund, all of that kind of stuff, I think that person gets a stipend.
You know what we did at SWA is what had happened was that when I was setting up all the workshops, I would also have to be there as the lead person and, you know, coordinate everything, open up, make sure the supplies are all there and the chairs and tables and snacks and everything. And which was kind of a waste of my time. So what we ended up doing was I would find someone who would chair that particular workshop. Let's say it's a watercolor workshop and I don't do watercolor. And so what we, instead of a stipend, what we would do is charge the chair half price for the workshop. So they got a benefit, they got a discount for the workshop if they were in charge of everything from opening to closing to making sure everybody was there and that there were snacks and then closed down. So that was one way of doing it, was to give them a discount.
That's what the Santa Clara Valley Watercolor Society does also.
Yeah, they do the same. Yeah.
And then getting back to the artists, artists kind of set their own fee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
on the other hand,
Yes, that's what they basically do.
but on the other hand, if we have to be able to negotiate a little bit, and because the benefit that they get is exposure.
Absolutely. And the
Mhm.
benefit you get is exposure also. So, and
Yeah,
also
I think
with doing the
you all
YouTube or
froze.
doing the Zoom, this can be spread out. So you can have more people taking a workshop than if you were doing it in one space. So that's all marketing.
Yeah, Ray generally has 18 people in his oil painting class. And what he does is he devotes 10 minutes specifically to each person.
So we're talking about class versus workshop.
Right. So this is, you know, you guys have a lot more experience with this than I do, because I have not been a member of an art association other than the Pacific Art League, so I get a discount on the classes. I haven't really participated in the management of it or the running of it. But, you know, it's like everything else. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to get this information. I'm a member of the Santa Clara Valley Watercolor Society, so I got this off the website. And I'm a member of Pacific Art League, and I'm a member of SWA, and I'm a member of a couple of other things too. But the thing is that if we're going to do it, we got to do it. If we're not going to do it, then we probably should, you know, give somebody else the name of our organization and let them run it.
Yeah, we
Definitely.
just need, comes down to some of it.
Yeah.
Individually recruiting some of our members to help out more.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how we got you two. So that's how we got Jim to be the president.
Yeah, right.
So it would be probably helpful to start looking at additional members who might be willing to do stuff if we approach them individually. Because if you just put it out to the membership at large, you never get anybody volunteering.
Never.
But if you ask them one-on-one, then a lot of times you can get stuff.
Okay, but part of it has to do with how often we communicate with our members, how we communicate with our members, and making them feel that we can make people feel this is a huge organization if we want to. I know that with some marketing materials and some communication on a regular basis, they will think this organization is much bigger, and they'll want to they'll want to participate more. The problem is that for one thing, we have a lot of directors that don't participate. And so I really think those people who are directors that are not participating on any level need to be acknowledged for their service. And then those positions need to be open for new directors.
Well, the thing with, first of all, we're not limited by the number of people we have on the board. So I don't believe it's necessary to tell people to leave the board so we can replace them. We just need to ask other people to join. And I suspect that then those folks will they'll eventually just not be on the board.
They'll die.
But
Okay,
it doesn't, I don't like to, I don't want to approach it directly
You don't
that way,
want-
because people have put in a lot of work over the years and they would be really hurt.
Well, but see,
Um,
that's where you give them a plaque or take them to lunch or, that sort of thing. You have to honor the people that have served. I agree with that. But part of this,
Wait. No. Let's stop. So the people who have jobs on the board of directors, if they're not doing their jobs, we can ask them if they would like to relinquish it so we can give it to someone else. But they can still be on the board. Any member of SWA can be a standing member on the board at any time for as long as they want. But if you have jobs that aren't being done, then we can ask them if they would like to relinquish it and give it to someone else.
or maybe they could find somebody within the membership to take their position.
I'm
sorry, I
not so
didn't
easy
understand.
getting people on the board, is it, Sharon? Is it
What?
easy to get people on the board?
Sometimes, I mean, it depends. I mean, that's why we have approached it. Like I said, I approached you guys individually to be on the board. We have Yvonne Newhouse is going to join the board at the end of the year when she's finished with her current duties in another organization.
good.
I think just need to start, we need to go down the membership list and figure out who we want to invite to join the board, and that would take on some responsibility. Some people are reluctant and don't want to do it. So
You said that
people are
we had
busy painting.
recently a new member who approached us to join. We didn't ask them to join. They found us online or something and joined up.
yeah, sometimes they do.
Yeah, and so people like that would be great to contact. And the problem is we cannot function if we don't have volunteers that are participating.
Right.
And it sounds like we have needs. So instead of just asking people, if we have needs, let's define those needs that we need, like the marketing, all of that.
Yeah,
That
sometimes if you can define it and it doesn't sound too overwhelming, you might get somebody. Yeah.
right.
Well, do you have job descriptions for that, or do you want me to send you, or you could go to Santa Clara Valley website and probably get this information. They've got a secretary position, a treasurer position, a webmaster, which I think is very helpful, a workshop leader, the workshop registrar. What else do they have here?
Yeah, I mean, our main thing right now is
Publicity and scholarship.
we need a workshop leader, because the reality is John works a lot of hours and it's not working for him to be the leader in that.
I agree.
Right.
I agree.
So I think that may be our most immediate need. And so figuring out who might be willing to take the lead on that, not necessarily do everything like Sherry used to do, but.
Okay, but Sharon, pardon me for interrupting, but we really aren't going to be very successful with workshops and demos unless we have some marketing to support that.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I make a suggestion.
And if somebody can take over it, sure.
Yeah. So the suggestion would be that maybe, Jim, you can look through the files and find out all our old job descriptions, because it does seem like they need to be updated. And then we have a list of the different kind of jobs with the specific duties that we can open up to other members in our organization to see if they would be willing to step up and start helping out and taking over jobs that some of us have been doing for 20 years. And then the other thing is we get the workshop situation with the Zoom and the YouTube straightened out, and then we can be able to offer to someone so they don't have to figure it out themselves unless they choose to. So everything is in place, and then that workshop chair can spend their time finding individuals to do workshops for us. as the mechanics of the visual mechanics are all worked out already. So that would be a way of starting, is let's get our jobs down and then we can start working, trying to recruit, especially our new members. We have a lot of new members. And does that make sense?
Yes.
Mhm.
So
Sure.
these job descriptions are in the file cabinet at the gallery?
They, you know what, they might
Yeah,
be
I don't think we
there.
have them.
I would suggest asking maybe if Carrie knew, but she may not even remember too. I know they're somewhere. I know that we had it all written up and that Moira had gathered everything together. Who is president after Moira? I can't remember. Because when I was president, we didn't do that because we were too busy trying to move.
Yeah,
So
that
maybe
was
they're in the files and under job duties or something, but that would be
Okay.
a starting point.
okay.
Yeah, I'm going to be gallery
Hey,
sitting.
Sherry, when are you going to be down at the drop-in today? I'm sorry, Sherry, are you going to be down there with us today at the drop-in?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because we could look in the file when
can
we're
look.
down there today
Okay.
and start there. And then if we need to, we could pull what Betty's pulled on that other one and steal whatever looks good. You know, maybe their descriptions are better than what we've got, but we could do that. But let's start with going, you know, when we're down there today to look in the file.
Okay.
I know I don't have that information scanned into my computer. The only one that I have is Judy's. So,
Let me also look on the SWA USB drive to see what's on there.
see if you can find something. I don't think there's anything on there, but you could
Okay.
definitely look at
I'll
what I
look.
gave you.
Yeah, I'll look.
Gosh, it's been so long. I can't remember what happened to all of that stuff.
Well, hopefully it's in the file. There's
Yeah,
still stuff
yeah.
in the file.
Because I think we're all pretty good about keeping information in the files. Anything
Yeah.
that happened, we would shove it into the files.
Yeah, I've been trying to scan everything into my computer, and that's what I've given Jim as a copy of that, but I don't think I scan job descriptions. I don't
Okay.
remember doing that one.
Okay. I'll just take a
So,
look.
Okay,
Okay.
then one more thing I have is that I also noticed that some of these other organizations and I think it was the Sequoia one has asked or has obtained John Muir Laws, who is he's a local artist who works with nature walks and nature journaling, and he has a website, a beautiful website with free videos and on it and everything. But he has a studio of his own that he can use to do his workshop with, and that's something we could offer our people to attend as well as the public. And he has materials, books, and as well as watercolor pens, those pens that hold water and other things. But he is really wonderful at drawing birds. And in fact, I don't know if you know who the author Amy Tan, I think it is. She wrote some books.
Joy Luck Club,
Yeah, that's right. That's the
among
one.
others. Yeah.
She has partnered with him on some of these things because she draws birds now, and he sells, I think, the cards that Amy has made of little birds and things. But a lot of people love to draw animals, and he can do a workshop on how to draw horses or how to draw. He's got one on his website with mountain lions on it, and he's got all different kinds of wild animals, as well as obviously birds, and different kinds of birds and hawks and things like that. And so he could, we could ask him, because he does this thing for practically for donations. He works for donations. So if we could charge like because he does it for like $20 on some of them. But I think if you looked at his website and figured out what you think would be attractive to our membership, I know because he's local and he's got this stuff already that he would do it because he's doing it for Sequoia.
You
Yeah.
know, one metric that you can use is our annual that we just had. And it, Sharon, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like there were a lot more watercolor entries than oil entries this year.
Yes, there were.
So
Yeah.
we still need to appeal more to the watercolor. We might have more watercolor participants because there's more watercolor members. Just a metric to keep aware of.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
So John Muir Laws is doing a Zoom presentation on August 28th for the Sequoia Art Association.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't think the Sequoia Art Group, they do demos, but I don't think they do workshops or classes.
But he could do a workshop too,
Yeah.
so that would be good.
Yes. Yeah, we definitely should look into that.
So those are my thoughts, and
Okay.
so my question is, where do we go now?
Well, one thing I'd like is for Betty, you to put this stuff that you've told us today in an email.
Okay.
If it's in writing, I do better remembering it and being able to follow up on things.
Okay, I'm gonna need a day or two to get that list of associations together.
That's fine, whatever it takes.
Okay.
And Guy's given us his list.
Yeah.
So if Jim could put that as a total, just a summary to be able to, and send out with the agenda for the Saturday's meeting.
Yes. I will do that.
And I'll let you know when I hear back from the PG&E people and see if we get anything from that in terms of support. And then I think certainly Jim and I and maybe Sherry could look at the roster and see if we can kind of identify other people that we can approach too, along with, and Sherry and I will look for those job descriptions today.
Okay,
Great.
good.
Does that sound like good follow-ups? Did
Yeah.
somebody write that down?
I have my piece written down.
Okay, so Jim, what are you going to do? So let me write this down so everybody knows.
Okay, I'm going to take Guy's list of equipment and figure out what we need and what the prices are and present that to the board on Saturday to get approval to go ahead and get the equipment.
Perfect. And
don't forget, remember, I have the on
Right.
his list.
Yeah.
I have the lights that you guys can use for right now.
okay,
Yeah, okay.
could you email that maybe to Sharon? Exactly what you have that you're willing to give up?
Or that you're willing to loan, it sounds like.
Yeah. Could you do
I'm
that?
sorry, I missed that. Did I miss something? You want me to do what?
To send exactly what you have, identify exactly what you have that we don't need to buy because you're going to loan it to us. So
Oh, it's on that last page where it says down there, the lighting equipment. That's exactly what I have.
Okay.
well, maybe you could be a little more specific, Sharon.
So it's a soft box like this.
Yeah, well, no, mine are just umbrellas. I don't have the box that surrounds the light, but they're umbrellas. They do the same thing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
everything, the light bulbs and everything. So I think you have a picture on the last page.
Okay, that bottom piece, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
What?
that's what I have.
Yeah. What's wonderful about these is it diffuses all of the light, so there's no harsh
Right.
shadows.
Right.
And it's
My
a
umbrellas, it's the
versus.
same thing. The umbrellas do the same thing. They diffuse light.
Okay.
So same setup, bulbs and everything.
Okay.
Great. And that's equipment that you own, Sherry?
It is, and I will be happy to loan it to you for a
Okay.
reasonable price.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and so then Sharon, tell me again, please, what you were doing?
Helping Sherry find the job descriptions, but also just being in touch with the PG&E people
Okay.
for now. And and since Sherry and Jim and I are the most familiar with the names on our roster, we'll review the roster and see if we can identify other people to recruit.
Perfect. Okay.
Recruit to the job descriptions?
Or to some task, maybe not just these if they don't fit, but anything that we think they might be willing to volunteer for. I mean, we have people that probably would volunteer if they knew what we wanted from them.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, the other thing to bear in mind, and it's a good way of recruitment of people to do jobs, is just to invite these people to the board meetings so they get to hear how the thing runs and what's going on. And just don't approach, especially someone new, you don't want to approach them in order to try to drag them in to do some work.
Mm-hmm.
They need to see the overall mechanics of our organization and everything that needs to be done. So just asking people to come to the board meetings would be wonderful. Just having other bodies there would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Good suggestion. Yeah.
Especially once we meet in person again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We got to decide about that at some point. When we feel comfortable meeting in person.
At the board meetings. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guy,
Definitely not.
anything we missed?
No. I kind of said my piece and gave you guys information and.
Okay.
And you did a fantastic job. Thank you, Guy.
Oh, you're welcome. So, but what I've been hearing is, you know, there's classes and then there's workshops, and they're two different things.
Right.
So,
we should start with the workshops, I believe, because that's what we're known for.
That's what a workshop is. Less work than having
a class, absolutely.
To start off with, but because everything that Betty's been forwarding has been wonderful, but there's a difference between classes and workshops. So
right. And then can I make one more?
And then especially trying to, because we need to figure out how to make it a win-win situation for SWA and the artists. So
absolutely.
A workshop is a great place to start, I think, because that's a one-time event.
Right.
So, and to get everything kind of figured out. So.
Yes.
Okay. Then lastly, the people that have not paid or who have left us, like Ellen Howard and so on, we should be able to do a questionnaire to them, a survey to them as well. Why aren't you, why aren't you involved anymore? Why aren't you?
Yeah, we try to do that every year, and so we get a few responses, but.
Okay, well, there's a thing called Survey Monkey, and that's what Santa Clara Valley Watercolor Society is using.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't used that formally, but we could definitely do that too.
Yeah.
It's more asking them directly, but yeah.
Right. I
And
get tons of surveys and I rarely answer them. I'll go in and see the questions they're asking, but
yeah. Well, then somebody at least needs to email these people directly, because that's probably going to get a better response than a phone call, because phone calls are time consuming and nobody answers their phone anymore anyway.
No, I do email people.
Okay.
All right. Over and over.
All right.
Anyway.
Again, Sharon, you have been a workhorse. You've been amazing. You've put yourself out there and you've reached out and you've been in every meeting I've ever been to. And every time I go there, you're there. So you have been a real anchor for us for a long time now. And I just want to commend you for that.
Oh,
you're here. I agree.
Yes. Thank you.
And with such a calm and pleasant demeanor.
Right.
You haven't seen me at when I get
Yeah,
frustrated.
yeah. There are times.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm sure
Yeah.
I'm sure you're human.
yeah. And I do recommend all of you go down. Carrie and I hung the annual yesterday and it looks terrific. So if
Good.
you get a chance, go down and see it. Well, Jim will have to because he's staffing, but
Yeah.
Betty and Guy go and see it now that it's hung. And Betty, you should come and see the annual. It's a wonderful show.
I'll do that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's still work to do from that. So
Good job.
communication, setting up the calendar. Yeah. Anyway, so that sounds like we're done for today.
Yeah.
Do we want to set a date for a next meeting?
Follow up on this subject,
Yeah.
this committee.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Suggestions?
For the next date,
I'm wondering if we should have one on the weekend so that John could participate.
that would be nice. Maybe, is there a weekend in August that is attractive to anybody?
I'm
Maybe,
completely open, frankly.
yeah, maybe Saturday would be better than a Sunday. Maybe,
I'm open.
I don't know, I think maybe, what do you think, the 15th? No, that's a board meeting.
It's the board meeting date, yeah.
If we have one in August, we got to
If we
decide.
have one, yeah.
Okay,
So
So
the-
we're talking about a lot of this in the board meeting, right? About
We
purchasing
needed-
equipment and
yes.
all of that. So what are we going to be doing for the follow-up?
yeah, that's a very good question, Guy.
Right?
Yeah. Maybe
Well,
the board meeting is enough. But that's this Saturday.
Right.
And then we have to decide if we want to have an August board meeting. But yeah, we could do it with the board meeting.
I
Maybe
think that's
that,
a good idea. 'Cause
yeah,
we're
maybe it's
supposed
time
to-
to combine.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got a lot of things going on right now with the annual.
Yeah. So why don't we just do that?
And then if we need another meeting, we can then decide on that.
Yeah.
How about that?
Okay.
Great idea.
So we'll set up a board meeting on August 15th then?
Yeah,
It already
tentatively.
is set up.
Because by Saturday, we won't have done any of these things. So
Right.
we need to meet to see where we're progressing,
Right.
right?
And there is one set up for the 15th already.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes. Good.
yeah, that's good. Let's just keep that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay.
I'll do my best to summarize this stuff and get it out as quickly as I can.
Thank you, Betty.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, see you Saturday.
See you Saturday. Yes.
Okay.
Bye. Thanks, Guy.
All
You're
right.
welcome. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Oh, bye.
Bye.